I'm a researcher in the School of Life Sciences here in Dundee. I'm a postdoc, which basically means I'm employed to gather together skills, expertise, specialist knowledge, publish some papers, with which I can then use to convince somebody to give me money, with which to get together more skills, expertise, publish more papers, with which to convince somebody else to give me more money to then do the same thing over and over again for about a decade until I then eventually burn out and run off and join the circus. So this comes with a bit of a nice boost in earnings over the old PhD wages themselves, to the point where I did once manage to buy a tin of beans at Waitrose. Admittedly, that is all I ate that month, but that's a dream, you know. Downside is I am no longer a student. I don't have any more student discount. I have to pay council tax, and due to the fixed short-term contractual nature of postdocing, I have absolutely fuck all job security. So why bother? Well, I love science. I love being a researcher, being able to find out the answers to questions that nobody's ever managed to answer before, or in some cases never even thought of asking before. It's pretty cool. I also like coming to work in jeans and a t-shirt, and there's always an excuse for cake and beer, and with a spare tyre I'm looking around these days, there's been plenty of that the last 6 years. Yeah, so what do I actually do? I'm a molecular biologist. I study the basic building blocks of life, DNA, RNA, and proteins. The problem is these things are seriously tiny. You can't see these with a regular microscope. So, kind of ironically, as a scientist, a substantial portion of my job actually relies on blind faith. Yeah, you can spend 2 weeks doing an experiment, start on Monday, you work your way through to Friday, and then you realise that everything fucked up on the very first Tuesday, and you have to start again from scratch multiple times. Because as I've found in my experience as a researcher over the last few years, it is very much a case of doing the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and hoping for different results, which, if the internet is to be believed, is the definition of insanity attributed to Einstein. But yeah, funnily enough, while I was writing this set, I actually noticed quite a lot of parallels between stand-up comedy and scientific research. For a start, as I've just told you, they both rely quite heavily on repetition. They both involve comparing and contrasting things and seeing if you get a reaction. That would be really awkward otherwise. They both tend to be very topical. They both rely heavily on repetition. They both involve a lot of planning, as you can see, and just because something works on paper doesn't mean it's not going to fall flat in its arse in practice. And of course, they both rely very, very heavily on repetition. Yeah, so what am I actually here in Dundee to study? I'm looking at cellular proteostasis and Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which, thank you, in simple terms, in actual people speak, I'm studying how proteins are recycled in baker's yeast, which is a bit of a weird choice, I know. So probably the biggest question is, why do we use yeast for research? Well, for a start, they're quite small and you can get quite a lot of them into a confined space, unlike children. They grow very quickly, unlike children. They're really easy to feed, also unlike children. And they're actually really good value for money, especially when you compare them to the royal family, which I think is actually quite an apt comparison, considering that they're both in bread. But yeah, anyway, stupid tongues aside, the really important stuff is preserved between humans and yeast. About a third of yeast genes have a human equivalent. They grow, they make new DNA, they make new proteins, they kind of have sex in a bit of a weird way. And if by sex you mean grow a large projection and then bash each other a few times until you fuse together. But other than that, all the basics are kind of there, albeit at a simpler level, except maybe the whole touching tips thing, but some folk are obviously into that. So, what am I actually studying with these yeast? Well, our lab's interested in a molecule, a protein called ubiquitin. And ubiquitin is called ubiquitin because it is ubiquitous, literally is everywhere. Scientists are really not known for the inventiveness of their naming of things. So the whole point of ubiquitin is ubiquitin gets attached to proteins that need to be recycled. They get attached to chains, and then these chains act as a signal to point the protein towards basically the cellular dustbin. So our lab's interested in a class of enzymes that cut ubiquitin back off and prevent these proteins from being recycled. And kind of the interplay between enzymes that add ubiquitin and enzymes that take ubiquitin back off again is kind of what we're interested in. Kind of imagine it like, so it's the summer and your parents are clearing out the garage, but they both have a really fundamental difference in understanding of what rubbish constitutes. So I'm interested in two particular deubiquitinating enzymes, MindD1 and MindD2. Again, scientists and names. So basically what this involves for me is a lot of growing yeast on petri dishes, on agar in petri dishes, and subjecting them to a whole bunch of chemicals, drugs, loads of different growth conditions, and basically seeing whether they die any faster or not. Because of this, I make a lot of agar plates, and I've kind of become a really intolerable colleague to work with because I essentially block book the microwave for hours at a time. I've been working in Dundee now for about 5 months or so, and one person has actually started calling me the microwave guy. I think you'll find I spent 4 years doing a PhD. That's actually Doctor the Microwave. Anyway, I digress. So basically, yeast research has been really fun, learned lots of cool things, and hopefully, assuming I don't cock it up, should be able to do lots more exciting things to come. But I do appreciate it is a bit weird. But that's science. Science and research in general is quite weird. Experimentation tends to be a bit weird. For example, someone did once look at a cow and think, I wonder what happens if I suck that dangly thing. Or a bit more recently, a group over in the US decided to try and cure jet lag by giving hamsters Viagra. I can't attest to whether it works or not, but it is available over the counter in Boots now, so it wouldn't be particularly hard. Well, something would be hard, but not testing it out would be particularly hard. But yeah, anyway, research, it's crazy ideas, lots of hard work, lots of occasionally maddening, repetitive hard work. But eventually when you crack your head through a brick wall you've been hammering your head against for the last 6 months and find an answer, it might not be the answer you want, but find an answer, it's pretty fucking cool. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I am a scientist, because I take this really probably perverse joy in trying to answer questions that, in all honesty, nobody else really gives a shit about. Thank you very much. You have been